Ladies and gentlemen, this story epitomizes the hypocrisy of people who want legislation to prevent a person like Hunter Biden from obtaining, we'll call it a firearm, because that's what it is. I'm hoping that's a more algorithmically friendly manner of discussing this topic. So Hunter B. text contradict claims Secret Service wasn't involved in firearm case. The text messages that were obtained linked to him. Hunter Biden sent a message that said Secret Service responded after his firearm disappeared in 2018, contradicting the agency's assertion that it wasn't involved, the Post has learned. This is a huge story. No one's touching it with a 10-foot pole. No one is even talking about it as his father is trying to curb the Second Amendment. You can't say that, well, we're trying to keep people safe. You're not keeping anyone safe. You could look at the homicide rates of cities that have the strictest Second Amendment laws. It does not prevent criminals from obtaining whatever it is they need to obtain, whether it's narcotics or anything else. Laws are in the books to keep people safe, which is why we have the Second Amendment, to keep families and individuals safe. Not everybody can have a Secret Service detail like Hunter B. or his father. Not everybody can be a disingenuous, duplicitous, hypocritical celebrity with a security, hired guards that carry automatics, which most firearms are nowadays anyway. Okay? This is a situation where the New York Post is talking about this. This is an important segment, and it's the height of hypocrisy. It's the epitome of hypocrisy. You have Democrats with every tragedy saying, you see, listen to us. The numbers do not point to, and the numbers pertaining to everything else, they have the worst outcomes in terms of the pandemic, worst economic outcomes. Go to the New York Times statistics. 1 out of every 5 person who lost his or her life lived in New York or California. Oh, the 2 most populous states. Yeah, New York had the highest, if not it was always either the highest or the second highest per capita rate in the country. I think it's the highest still. And the top 4 states, last I checked, the top 4 highest per capita rates were Democratic-run states. 7 of the top 11 states with the greatest number of lives lost accounted for 40% of all the lives, over 40% of all the lives lost in this country of 320 million Americans in 50 states. And those 7 states were Democratic-run blue states. It shouldn't be a blue-red thing. But Democrats gleefully mocked and insulted and disparaged anyone they claimed didn't listen to them exactly if that person lost his or her life. Look what they did to Herman Cain. The despicable manner in which they reacted to him losing his life. Oh, you see, it was Trump's rally. It was this. It was that. He didn't do exactly what we said. Well, people did exactly what Democrats said. It didn't help them. I'm not saying that you shouldn't abide by protocol. H.A. Goodman says you need to abide by protocol, wear masks, and all of that. But you can't state definitively that you have, that you can pontificate and preach and give these sermons when, for example, in Democratic-run cities throughout the country, cities like Chicago, Detroit, Los Angeles, New York, with the strictest laws curbing the Second Amendment. You cannot say these laws work. You cannot say they keep people safe. You cannot say this when you look at the data, the statistics, the stories that you've heard the past year. Okay? Crime involving firearms has gone up. Why? Because people who want to commit crimes do not care about abiding by laws. The only people who would abide by stricter Second Amendment laws are law-abiding citizens. And you cannot lie on a form to obtain a firearm, which is exactly what Hunter B. did. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Share this segment everywhere. Hunter Biden sent a text message that said the Secret Service responded after his gun disappeared in 2018, contradicting the agency's assertion that it wasn't involved. The Post has learned. In a lengthy message sent the following year, President Biden's son described the situation in detail, saying his former sister-in-law turned lover tossed the firearm into a trash bin outside Jansen's Market, a gourmet grocery store in Wilmington, Delaware. She stole it out of my trunk lockbox and threw it in a garbage can full to the top at Jansen's. Then told me it was my problem to deal with. Now, I kind of feel for him for just a second, just because that's his girlfriend throwing it. But then I keep reading on, and I don't feel for him. A, because he lied when the question to obtain it on the registration form to get the license or to get the permit asks if you have a substance issue. He said no. He was kicked out of the Navy for a substance issue, so he lied on the form. But here, then the police, then when the police, the FBI, the Secret Service came on the scene, she said she took it from me because she was scared I would harm myself due to my drug and alcohol problem in our volatile relationship, and that she was afraid for the kids. Okay, President Biden, I'm just going to say this. I don't usually judge. I don't usually say these types of things. Okay? I don't think he's a very good father to his son Hunter. So you have all of these messages, text messages, emails on his laptop that show he's still battling these issues. You have this story where he lied on a registration form to obtain a firearm, and then his girlfriend loses it. Then the Secret Service gets involved. He was kicked out of the Navy. Biden wrote 100-to-1 sentencing disparity, where people of color were 100-to-1 times likely to be arrested or incarcerated for the same narcotics used by his son Hunter. The hypocrisy is the word irony? Is it? Well, it's obviously hypocrisy. How do you justify this as a good, morally superior liberal? So, in a way, even the presidency isn't as important as Biden protecting his son from himself. Like, Hunter Biden's worst adversary is himself, just like anyone who is suffering through, the demons that he's facing. But see, again, you have, this is a national security risk added on because you have people trying to utilize Hunter as a conduit. We know that Biden lied through his teeth. He'll get impeached because of it. 2022, the House goes Republican, which it will. It'll go Trump Republican, meaning like people who want Americans brought home from never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts, like President Trump and Devin Nunes and Jim Jordan and Matt Gaetz. And people say, how can you go from Bernie Sanders to Trump? It's like, yeah, you can do that. Oh my God, how do you do that? Because, there's no correlation. Yeah, there's a lot of correlation. Bernie's populist message is very similar to Trump's populist message. When Democrats in a deriding way, try to say, well, Bernie's message was, Bernie was basically Trump on the left. Yeah, he was. He definitely was on a lot of things. Then he tried his best to change in 2020. It still didn't work out. They railroaded him worse in 2020 than they did in 2016. But anyway, then the police, okay, so the January 2019 message adds, really not joking, the cop kept me convinced that that my girlfriend was scared of me. Okay, well, that's because she was. She threw... That's also an impulsive thing of the girlfriend. Like, why don't you just call the former vice president at the time, okay, when he was too busy with his campaign? This was 2019. January 29th, 2019. In another message she sent closer to the incident is 2018. Hunter described it as my 38. So it was his 38. Took from lockbox of truck and put in paper bag and threw it in trash can at local high-end grocery. For no reason, wrote December 6, 2018. I shouldn't feel for Hunter, but I do. I shouldn't feel for him, but I do. And I there's no reason to, because he brought this upon himself. If he has these issues with, substances, he shouldn't have the 38 anywhere near him. Okay? And I'm an advocate, for Second Amendment rights, and I own, to protect my family and myself. I had a threat against my life when I was on Twitter, and the police officer said, yeah, you should purchase and obtain lawfully, your own firearms. And so I did. So you could see on H.A. Goodman's other channel, you could see a couple segments. And I will start that one eventually back up, but I have a really, really fantastic surprise on my website very soon. But here, and I freaked when I saw I was missing 10 minutes after she took it, and she went back and got it. I scared the you-know-what out of her. It was gone, which led to state police investigation of me. True story. So, both messages are contained on a hard drive obtained by the Post that holds the contents of a damaged laptop computer. So, there you go. I'm reading YouTube policies. This is YouTube. I'm reading from the New York Post, my God almighty. I'm reading from the New York Post. This is from the New York Post. So, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Democrats and morally superior liberals live in a fantasy world. They live in a fantasy world where it's true you need government. Yes, not every government policy is socialism, by the way. Like, having a government policy doesn't mean socialism, see? Anyway, they live in a fantasy world where if you make it difficult for criminals or people like Hunter Biden to obtain his 38, for example, then suddenly society will be safe from people who commit evil or crimes. That's not the case. The data shows this. And you can look at cities throughout the country with the strictest, simply pointing to cities that have less strict or states that have less strict Second Amendment laws and saying, well, see, it's higher rate or there's more. Well, you're missing, number one, you're missing a whole lot of other issues associated. But number two, you're ignoring how, unfortunately, those numbers are padded. But mainly, you are ignoring the fact that if you're right that laws will prevent this type of crime, then why haven't they in cities with the strictest Second Amendment laws? Why? Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. You have Hunter Biden, who lied on a form to obtain his 38, lost it because his girlfriend threw it into a trash can, and then got the Secret Service involved, according to this New York Post article. Give me your thoughts. This is an important segment, people. Give me your